Video we're going to cover while traveling is fucking awesome, and why you need to do it as young as possible. This is my Tuesday afternoon. I'm on Sengigi Beach in Lombok. So your young youth years are the best years of your life, and I think so many people will be better off spending them traveling rather than saving money. You have your entire life to save money. And not only do you have your entire life to save, but due to inflation, every time you save money, it's losing value every single year. So I think in a lot of circumstances, you're better off earning money and spending it right away when it holds the most value. And for people who think they've got it figured out, where they maybe have a job they want that's going to take them, let's say, 10 years to get, but wouldn't you be so much better off traveling for 3 years, then deciding what you want to grind for the next 10 years? Within those 3 years, you'll meet so many great people, make so many great memories, and expose yourself to the best opportunities possible, rather than staying in a small town where the same opportunities are just going round in a circle. I think it's crazy how society has just made us believe that we've got to pick a job at 16 or 18 and then do that job for the rest of your life. As 16 and 18-year-olds, you're a fucking idiot. You don't know anything. You have no life experience. I think you'd be so much better off just exploring the world, traveling, trying all these new things, and then deciding what you want to do with the rest of your life. Because I'm 25 now, and I feel like I could make a pretty good decision on what I want to do for the rest of my life. 16-year-old me, I just did what was given to me because I didn't know. I didn't know any better. I just trusted the older people to pick for me and go along with their options, as I didn't have any life experience or knowledge of what's going to work out. I think that's what's beautiful about your youth and your young years. It doesn't matter if it works out. It doesn't matter if you have these problems to solve. Every single time you attempt them, you fail, because it's going to point you closer to the solution. But even if you haven't figured out, let's say you wanted to be a chartered engineer and it's going to take you 10 years to get that. If you went traveling for 3 years first, met all these great people and expose yourself to all these great and maybe even better opportunities, even after 3 years, you come back to your hometown and decide, no, I want to stay here and do engineering. You come back and you think, yes, I'm going to become a chartered engineer 10 years from now. You're going to do this job for the rest of your life. Do you really think getting there 3 years later is going to make that much difference? Or if anyone's going to care, then you got to a chartered engineer at the age of 31 rather than getting there at 28, let's say. Maybe you might even be a better engineer because you've got a broader mind and you've seen more things and experienced more stuff. Not only is it awesome exploring these countries, but traveling is so good for your self-confidence, as you've got to learn to make friends from complete strangers and find a job in a new place. A lot more work than you expect, because you learn how to write your CV, you learn how to present yourself in a professional manner. You also learn how to network, as you don't have a choice not to. Because if you're trying to get a job by yourself with only the information you know, it's going to take you so long. However, you'll see people come back from the hostel, they'll be like, I got a job today, I got this today, and you just naturally talk to them because you want to know what they know. You want to know how they did it. Traveling has been so good for my self-confidence. There's been so many things I assume would be so difficult, like trying to find a job with no connections and no experience. However, it's actually really easy. I'm so surprised how easy it was. Just for the record, before I came to Australia, I worked in engineering for 7 years. On my first day applying for jobs, no one wanted me as I had no experience. Having knowledge of Microsoft Office is useless to them. They want to know if you can work a grill or make a fucking cocktail. But within 1 week of trial and error and trying to search for a job, I found a cafe that no one wanted to work at, and there was a job as a dishwasher, and I thought, this doesn't need any experience. Washed a dish before, this is just washing lots of dishes. So boom, I had my first job. I hated it. It was terrible. And they spoke to me like shit. But I knew I needed them more than they needed me. This was a stepping stone to get my experience in hospitality to get other jobs. And it was a great first stepping stone. After 2 weeks of working there, I got myself a second job at a burger joint. Betty's Burgers. Shout out to them. After 4 weeks of working in hospitality, I managed to get a job in retail selling shoes. And that job was the best. After getting all that knowledge from hospitality and retail, working with customers, that made it so much easier for me to find jobs in other places. Because after that, when I moved to Sydney, when I moved to Darwin, when I moved to Townsville, I got jobs like that. It was so easy. And now any problems I face, I have a much healthier attitude because I just know that it might not be solved today, but it might not be solved tomorrow. But if we really want to get past it, we will do it. From starting fresh in a new country, having to find a job, I've also learned so many skills that I wouldn't have learned from staying in my old job. So many more interesting jobs from going traveling, because you've got the element of why the fuck not? Because if in your hometown, it doesn't make sense to break off from your normal routine and your normal job and start something new, because you're going to earn less money. Unless you're really unhappy in the job you work, it just doesn't happen because it doesn't make sense. However, when you're traveling, you've got a complete fresh start. You can do anything you like. Example is this: I've worked so many more cool, interesting jobs that have taught me so many different skills. When I lived in Sydney, I worked as the activity organizer, so I just had to do barbecues, made pancakes every Tuesday, did some drinking games and went on walks. But that was so good for my public speaking, my planning, like organizing stuff with people. I had to do this 4 times a week and it was great. I learned a lot of people skills from that job. I even got asked to host a flip cup tournament, which is just like a drinking game basically, but they wanted it to be the biggest one they've ever had. As I had spare rooms in the hostel that weren't being used, and they wanted to use that room as the events room to try and get more people involved in the hostel. But then I took it so seriously. I had an opportunity to try to do something good, and it felt amazing. Traveling also fills you with self-confidence. It makes you really appreciate what you have. As I've met so many people from all over the world, especially in poorer or not as fortunate areas of the world, where they've told me stories of they've saved up for like a big portion of their lives to come to Australia, not to like flex on them, but they have like $4,000 or something, and it's just like, wow. Like $4,000 is only like £2,000. I was so fortunate to be born in a wealthier country. It would literally take me like 2 months to save up. Maybe 3 if I was, living lavish and spending a lot of money, but that wouldn't take me that long to save up. Whereas they've saved up for so many years. You should appreciate what you have. But yeah, like I discussed, traveling is fucking awesome. But it's not all just like coming up on heroin and everything's amazing. There's some places that you travel to that you don't like and you feel way more lonelier than you would in your hometown. But I don't think you realize how beneficial that is for you, because it's those hard times that you go through where you don't have any friends and the area you are sucks, where you grow so much. You figure out what you want to do and you figure out who you are so much faster and so much better. It's because you don't have a choice. I think the problem with most people is comfort seems to stick to them. If they're in a position where it's not really too bad, their boss might give them a hard time every couple of months, but it's not too hard, they never change because it's not that bad. However, if they were to be in a situation where it is shit and they hate it and they don't like it, they will do something about it. They will want to excel themselves to the higher level. And I feel like I've understand that more from living in those bad places. When I was in Darwin, I had no friends. Like, it wasn't that it's like a lonely place. I was the weird one. Everyone else had friends. I just didn't really want to be friends with anyone. Like, they weren't my sort of people. I was in the best shape of my life. I was working out every other day. I was skateboarding every other day. I started reading so much. And that's just because I was in this lonely area with no friends that I didn't like. Whereas if I was in somewhere where I was just having a sick time, just having fun all day, I wouldn't even think to do those things because it wouldn't even cross my mind. And yeah, that's all for today's video. I hope I can make something out of this. I've literally just yapped with my fucking book in my hand, but we'll see. Peace.